Hi Prem, very nice to have you here for episode 2 of Journey to the Job.
Thanks, Riddhi. I mean, always exciting to talk to you. Looking forward for the session.
Awesome. We have quite a bit of things to kind of talk about today. One is, of course, Prem, you have been here in the GCC space for a while now, but we wanted to understand how did you start? What was the first job that you ever had, and how was the experience at that time?
I started pretty early. 2004 was my first job. I started with a company called Seagram's, which was more into beverages, alcohol beverages. I used to manage their key accounts, more of a field sales. That was my first job. I started selling even before that. In my college days, I did promotional events. I used to sell Bosch and Lomb contact lens. Those days, I think there was no lens cart. There was no. In fact, contact lens was itself very new to a lot of young kids. That was very exciting, right? I mean, of course, I didn't have sight, but of course, I have a lot of friends who used to wear spectacles. So, I thought this is a great solution. And I used to sell that in colleges. It was a fantastic experience.
Yeah, I think college is where people get into sales
Yeah.
more often than not. I have seen that back when we used to study back in college. And of course, I mean, this was a lot more recent, but Red Bull used to do this a lot. They would go into colleges and they would like pick up like a Red Bull boy or a Red Bull girl, and you would see these people, carrying Red Bulls around and introducing them to the product as well. So in my head, that's the image I have of
absolutely.
Bosch and Lomb.
And that remind me, we used to think that is such a fun job, right? I mean, I never knew that's one way of marketing back then. I did my BCA, but I felt that's the job, I always wanted, right? It was very fun, lively. You're talking to people, you're promoting something. Maybe that's one starting point for me to get into marketing. But eventually, I think what we really felt was some of those early jobs teach you a lot. The best thing about the Red Bull was the fun, and you're out in the outdoor meeting people. So can't get better than that.
100%. And you always look at these people who start that early in something like sales as one of the most enterprising people in class.
Yeah.
At least that's how I would see it. What happened after that?
I took a leap of faith in terms of switching to a different role. So I personally feel for every new talent, there are three phases. First is exploring, then you settle down, and then you grow. Sometimes for people like me, exploring is what kind of role do I get into? What's the right career for me? And I took a lot of time to understand what it is for me while I did BCA, which was more on the tech side. I used to get jobs from a coding perspective. Probably, I'm pretty much sure I would have not been a great coder. That's the kind of jobs I used to receive. I was not very keen doing it, but I followed some of my friends and joined the BPO era. That's when the BPO was the big thing. I think everyone used to join BPO, make good money, quick money, and that was something that I started off with Dell. Worked in call center, tech support, did different kind of shifts. But eventually, I moved to a marketing role in Dell itself. Found a IJP. I think marketing was calling all the time, so I just got into a marketing role, and there was no looking back from then.
Do you remember your first interview?
Yes, I think vaguely. I don't know how many I gave, but interviews for us was fun, right? Those days we used to go in gangs. So if there is an interview somewhere, it's not me alone going to a job. I used to call like 5 friends and take them along and say you also apply here, right?
Yeah.
So it was more of a fun ride for us. Like I said, I was in that explore mode. Didn't really know what I want to do. I and my friends used to go join, call center interviews. The one that I very strongly remember is with HSBC, where it was a panel. Of course, those days it was a quick 2-round kind of an interview. So a lot of people used to, joined that interview
Okay.
early. So I remember there were a lot of questions asked on what I want to do, and I was completely all over the place. I didn't know what to say, but I think I managed well. I did get an offer, but I chose to join Dell. But yeah, that's one thing that I remember very well.